Welcome to the VET S.O.S Veteran Entrepreneur Spotlight. Remember, don't drown to see a transition. Grab the VET S.O.S lifeline. Veteran Entrepreneur Spotlight is proud to be affiliated with the Neil Haley Show and sponsored by Spirit Point Solutions. Spirit Point Solutions is a one-stop shop for leading-edge products, services, and training from multiple vendors. From AI training to corporate gifts to much more, they have everything you need to help your organization thrive in the modern economy. You can check out all the offerings from Spirit Point at spiritpointonline.com. And remember to use the code VETSOS. That'll help us continue our mission here to bring you great content and new organizations and stories as we go. Today, we're sitting down with Matt Darrah, Executive Director of Panhandle Orphan Care Network. He joined the Marines in 2003 and was deployed to Iraq in 2005. Matt was in the foster system as a child, was adopted, and grew up caring about the foster system. After taking in 3 kids from a woman that they knew, they were blessed with clothes, blankets, toys, and many other necessities for people in the community. This led to the creation of POCN, where we provide placement packages to children coming into foster care. It's an outstanding mission. Matt, can't wait to hear more about this here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Sean. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, we're so glad that you're here. Let's jump right into it, man. Tell me about your transition. How did it go?
There were challenges, right? I mean, you're over there. It's this intense, crazy thing, and then you get home, and it's like, my wife was like, "Who are you, and what have you done with my husband?" But we got it going, and everything kind of smoothed out, and so it was a challenge, but it was all right.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I remember after my first deployment, probably had the biggest fight of my marriage. And my wife and I have been married. It'll be 24 years this year. At this point, I think we were about 3 years in. And, she said something. I told her to suck it up and drive on. Yeah, that was that was probably the most tense fight that we had in our entire marriage. Definitely a tense couple of weeks.
For sure.
So, but it's a whole process where you got to readjust and get back, and that was coming right off of deployment too, So it's
definitely, it takes some time and some effort to kind of get back into the world.
God bless the patient women that put up with us,
right? yeah, for sure.
All right, so tell us a little bit more. We sort of alluded to why you started the business, but tell us what led to this entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, so I mean, we got these kids, and we didn't have anything. I mean, I had 2 teenage daughters. One was married, and the other one was getting married in like 3 months, and so we had nothing for kiddos. And these 2 4 and 6-year-olds showed up at our house, and we have nothing for them. And of course, they came with the clothes on their back, and so our community just jumped in and was like, "What do you need? We'll bring it to you," And so I just was like, "Man, this is something that the community needs to be doing." Like, if you're having a baby, somebody's most probably going to throw you a baby shower, and you're going to get a lot of the things you need, and so on and so forth. And when foster parents show up with the new kiddo, it's like, "Hey, good job. I could never do what you do." And so like we're sitting here saying, this so much blessed us because we needed this help. And so I looked around and was trying to find some nonprofit to like get set up under or something, and I couldn't find anybody. And so I was just like, well, I guess we're gonna have to start a nonprofit, because this is, I mean, we did 80 placement packages is what we call this group. We did 80 of them last year, which is almost double what we did the year before. We're growing and things like that. But in the area that we serve the 26 counties of the Panhandle.
Panhandle of
Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a couple panhandles.
Yeah. So to put that in perspective, that's the size of West Virginia. So we cover a huge area. And so what we do is we have Moses closets. This is where we store our stuff. Everything's new. And when we get referred a family, we go to our Moses closet, we get everything, and then we take it to them. So, I mean, it's a kind of a full service thing, but it's very possible to spend 5 hours driving to and from a placement inside the Panhandle because it's just such a huge area.
Yeah.
Um, and so, we feel like taking it to them is just a whole lot bigger benefit of
Yeah.
a ministry than it is to make them come to us and pick things and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I get that, and it's Texas, Florida, Alaska. You can drive all day and never leave the state. It's
Yeah.
I always found it. I lived in San Antonio for a couple of years, and always found it depressing when you come into Texas and see how far it was to El Paso. You're like,
Yeah, you could drive 13 hours tip to tip and still be inside the
yeah,
state.
absolutely.
It-
All right, so we'll get a little bit more into the organization here towards the end, but let's talk about the best and worst parts of becoming an entrepreneur.
I mean, I think they might kind of be the same, right? I mean, if it's gonna get done, you got to do it, right? And so, um, if you have to keep that momentum and that drive to keep things going, um, and but you have the freedom to be able to do that. I ran it I ran it while I worked full time for like years. We got our nonprofit success in 2017, and it wasn't until last June that I was finally able to step away from my full time job and do this full time. So it took, I mean, a tremendous amount of effort to work full time and run this organization at the same time, and be a dad and a grandpa and all the things, right?
Oh yeah,
So, you get a tremendous reward in running this organization and helping these folks and things like that. But it's a ton of work.
yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of two sides of the same coin. It's You're passionate about it, you want to help people, but it's also a tremendous amount of work.
Yeah, we've heard that from plenty of people. It's it starts probably mainly with passion, right? And you ride
Yeah,
that passion until you can turn it into something that can help you put food on the table. So,
right.
all right. So, did you participate in any entrepreneurial programs? Did you partake in anything that would help you sort of understand the business side of things?
No, I didn't know what in the world I was doing. And now last year we got some funding to do some capacity building work with a guy that's a business coach that's been, he's been in business for like 30 some odd years.
Yeah.
Helped manage some really large organizations. And so, but that was, years and years into it, right? So the first 8 years or something, I was just flying by the seat of my pants trying to figure out how to do this thing, how to do the accounting side, how to raise money, how to do all the things. And so now I wish I had been able to do some of that stuff beforehand, but no, I just had to figure it out as we went.
All right, you're doing it the hard way. I can appreciate that. But don't give up on it. There's a lot of free programs available to veterans. Like
Yeah.
IVMF has their programs. Warrior Rising has a great program that is sort of self-paced online that you can do, especially for nonprofits.
Yeah,
So definitely worth taking a look at some of those to maybe help you flush out a few things.
sure.
So you told us a little bit about the organization already. What else can you tell us? I mean, is it considered a ministry? I know you called it a ministry, but is it? Are you rated as a ministry or?
We're technically rated as just a nonprofit organization that helps foster families. I mean, kids.
Okay.
So we're not technically like a church ministry or something like that. We consider ourselves we follow James 127, which is to care for widows and orphans. This is true religion. But our setup is actually just a traditional nonprofit.
Okay. Okay. Got that. All right. So tell us more about this organization. How can people get involved? Are there specific things you're looking for? Is there any plan to expand?
So yeah, we so any nonprofit needs money, right? I mean, that's the number one thing. And so, if folks wanted to, they could donate. They could go to my website, panhandleorphan.org, and then there's a donate button, and they can set up. We ask people to become placement package partners. Just give us $10 a month. Just comes out of your bank account. You never have to think about it again. Um, but we also have like an Amazon wish list. So they can go to my Facebook page and click on the Amazon wish list. Everything gives new, and so we having to replenish stock. And so we put kind of hopefully made it an easy button by just going in there, clicking on the things that we need right now, pay for it, and then it just ships straight to us.
Oh, that's
Um,
fantastic.
yeah, and then we also the expansion part, um, because we cover the 26 counties of the Panhandle. We have a closet that's kind of northeast of us, and then we have one that's east of us, still in the Panhandle. We are trying to grow either northwest or just west or south, because we cover such a big area that it makes it a whole lot easier if I can say, hey, you do this placement package because it's 20 minutes from you, whereas it's an hour and a half or 2 hours from us.
Yeah.
And so our hope is to expand across the Panhandle, to have an ability to reach more families.
No, that's fantastic. And you know, you could keep a whole theme going. You could spread to the panhandle of Oklahoma, the panhandle of Florida, and you could just keep that
Yeah.
whole panhandle theme going if you wanted to.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, that's ultimately, the big goal, right? Because it's not just in the Panhandle of Texas that
Right.
folks need placement packages. I mean, they all over the country, this is a consistent need. I mean, we've done placement packages, Sean, where I mean, I did this one night. This little girl was 18 months old, and she made it to the foster home with the diaper she had on
Mm.
and one sock. And that's just not acceptable, and it was late. It was like 10:30 at night. So, foster parents are having to scramble to even have a diaper to change them into, or pajamas to put them to bed, those kinds of things. And so this, we're bringing stuff. We are. But the feedback that I get from foster families is, man, when you guys show up with this stuff, like, we feel supported and encouraged. Somebody out there cares about us and cares about these kids.
Yeah, man, I love it, man. I love your mission. I love your heart. And like you just said, they feel supported, and that means so much. Uh, Not only to the person, the family, but also within the community. So, just really applaud you for what you're doing, man. One more time, give us the best place for the audience to check out your organization, check you out, connect with you.
Yeah, so panhandleorphan.org, or they can check us out on Facebook and Instagram, Panhandle Orphan Care Network.
Outstanding, man. Matt, thank you so much, not only for what you're doing, but for joining us today and sharing your story. On behalf of the entire VET S.O.S family, we want to thank everyone for joining us today. You can find VET S.O.S on all your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, and all social media platforms. So make sure you're subscribing and following so you don't miss a thing. And as always, remember, don't drown the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline.